It doesn't matter if you finish dead last or won the Stanley Cup, the NHL entry draft has a way of breathing new life into even the most beleaguered fan bases. With just one pick or one trade, you can theoretically turn a franchise around. And with 5 of the 7 Canadian teams having missed the playoffs last year, that certainly is the hope heading into the 2-day event held in Dallas on June 22 and 23, from finding a trading partner for Erik Karlsson and Max Pacioretty to why Canadians could be shut out of the top 5. Here are 8 questions heading into this weekend's draft. Will Ottawa trade Erik Karlsson and Mike Hoffman? The Senators have the 4th and 22nd picks in the first round, but expect them to have plenty more if Karlsson and Hoffman are moved. In Karlsson's case, look for Vegas as a potential destination, with a package including center Cody Glass 6th overall, 2017 and defenseman Erik Brannstrom 15th overall, as well as a roster player such as Thomas Tatar. Hoffman wants fetch nearly as much now that Ottawa is painted into a corner of having to move, but it's not unrealistic to assume that the Rangers could offer one of the first-round picks they acquired from Tampa Bay or Boston. What other trades might we see? Montreal already acquired Max Domi from Arizona in exchange for Alex Galchenyuk, but it doesn't mean the Canadiens want trade captain Max Pacioretty if it means filling a void at the center position. Nashville is reportedly gauging interest on PK Subban, while Edmonton goalie Cam Talbot might be available, and just about everyone needs a defenseman. How good is this year's number 1 pick? The term generational talent gets thrown around more than it probably should. But in the case of Rasmus Dahlin, who is going to be the first Swede since Mats Sundin to go first overall, it's appropriate. Described as a mix between Nicklas Lidstrom and Erik Karlsson, the 6'3" defenseman has the potential to be a franchise changer. In other words, get your Sabres jokes out of your system. The days of Buffalo being a punchline are coming to an end. If Dahlin is so good, why are people comparing him to Nail Yakupov? The comparison to the first overall bust is more a reflection of the 2012 draft, which saw 8 defensemen selected in the top 10. This year's draft could be just as rich with defenders. It obviously begins with Dahlin at number 1, but scouts also believe that Adam Buckovist, Quinn Hughes, Noah Dobson, Evan Bouchard and Bode Wilde could all grow into top-pairing defensemen in a few years. Why did the Senators keep their pick? As part of the Matt Duchene trade, the Senators have the choice of giving the Avalanche either this year's or next year's first-round pick. It looks like they are keeping this year's pick, which is a bit of a gamble considering that Ottawa could be just as bad next year and potentially lose out on the number 1 pick and a chance to select top prospect Jack Hughes. At the same time, selecting 4th overall in this year's draft was too much to pass up considering that their choices in that spot wingers Philip Zadina and Brady Tkachuk are NHL ready and could make the sort of impact as rookies that ensures Ottawa won't be picking in the top 5 again. Which top prospect is going to tumble? It was a year ago when Gabe Vilardi fell outside the top 10, despite being the 4th-ranked North American skater. According to NHL Central Scouting, because of concerns with his skating. That's not an issue with Quinn Hughes or Adam Buckovist, who might be the 2 best skaters in the entire draft. But there are concerns surrounding their size. It's not that just that the 5'10" Hughes or the 5'9" Buckovist are short, it's that they are also slight, with Hughes weighing in around 170 pounds and Buckovist barely tipping the scales at 154 pounds. Maybe one of the teams picking in the top 5 will look past this, but with 6'3" Noah Dobson and 6'2" Evan Bouchard also available in that area, expect one of Hughes or Buckovist to drop. Who's this year's sleeper pick? There were 5 other players ahead of Jesperi Kotkaniemi on NHL Central Scouting's latest European rankings, but don't be surprised if he leapfrogs past most of them on the day of the draft. After all, he can do something that none of the others can: play center. Teams will say they don't select based on position, but finding a number 1 center, or even a number 2, these days is next to impossible outside of the draft. In other words, don't be surprised if the Canadiens, who are picking 3rd overall, already have Kotkaniemi's name on a jersey. Where are all the Canadiens? The best defenseman in the draft is Swedish. The best forwards are Russian, American, Finnish or from the Czech Republic. So where does that leave Canada, which enters this draft lacking in top-end talent? It's been almost 20 years since a Canadian-born player wasn't selected in the top 3. This year, there probably won't even be one taken in the top 5. That's not a knock on Bouchard or Dobson, who are this country's top-ranked prospects and should be snatched up within the top 10 picks. Just don't expect them to be the next Connor McDavid or even Aaron Ekblad. Predicting the NHL draft 1. Buffalo, Rasmus Dahlin, D 6'2", 181 pounds Frölunda SWE 41 GP7 G13 820 PTSTHE Sabres, who finished last but didn't win the lottery in 2014 and 2015, are finally picking first overall. And they really couldn't have picked a better year to do it. The team already has a star center in Jack Eichel and one of the best forward prospects in Casey Mittelstadt. Now, they're adding what could be a future Norris Trophy winner. Point 2. Carolina, Andrei Svechnikov, RW 6'2", 186 pounds Barrier 44 GP 40 G32A 72 PTSS Svechnikov cannot play center, but that's about all he cannot do. The Colts winger has been compared to Marian Huss because of his responsible, two-way game, but don't classify him as a defensive checker. He scored nearly a goal per game with the Colts and finished in the top 25 in scoring despite missing 24 games. Point 3. Montreal, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, C 6'2", 188 pounds Sassap Fin 5'7 GP 10 G19 A29 PTSTHE Canadians need a center, a legitimate one, that is. And the Finnish-born Kotkaniemi, who has been shooting up the draft rankings, is the best one available in this year's draft. Scouts compare him to Ans Kopitar, because he can score but also because HES noticeable even when HES not factoring the scoresheet. Either way, HES a better option up the middle than Jonathan Drouin. Point 4. Ottawa, Philip Zadina, RW 6 feet, 196 pounds Halifax QMJHL 5'7 GP 44 G38 A82 PT Swift Mike Hoffman likely gone in a trade this summer. The Senators are going to need someone to replace his offense. Zadina can do that, and more. A pure sniper who led Quebec League rookies in goals and points, his stock took off at this year's World Juniors, where he scored 7 goals in 7 games for the Czech Republic. Point 5. Arizona, Brady Tkachuk, LW 6'3", 196 pounds Boston University NCAA 40 GP8 G23 A31 Ps. Arizona missed out on drafting Austin Matthews. But in Tkachuk, who was born in St. Louis but lived in Phoenix when his dad was playing for the Coyotes, is the next closest thing. Big, mean and skilled, he should free up space for Clayton Keller and Alex Galchenyuk, and at the very least make the Coyotes tougher to play against. Point 6. Detroit, Evan Bouchard, D 6'2", 193 pounds London All 6'7 GP 25 G62 A87 PT. Ever since Nicklas Lidstrom retired, the Red Wings have been searching for the next one on defense. Bouchard won't fill those skates, but he will fill the net after leading all defensemen in points last. As a late birthday, he missed out on last year's draft by a month. He could also be NHL ready for next. Point 7. Vancouver, Adam Bokovic, D 5'9", 154 pounds Bryners if Gavler SWE 15 GP0 G1A1 PTSTHE Canucks went the safe route by selecting two-way defenseman Olli Juolevi with the 5th overall pick in 2016. Bokovic is the opposite. Highly skilled and with a nose for the net, the offensive-minded defenseman won't be playing on your penalty kill. But pair him with Juolevi and Vancouver could have a tandem that does it all. Point 8. Chicago, Noah Dobson, D 6'3", 180 pounds Acadie Bathurst QMJHL 6'7 GP 17 G52 A69 PTS. Dobson finished second amongst defensemen in scoring, but he really put his name on the map in the playoffs, by leading Acadie Bathurst to a league championship and then winning a Memorial Cup. In a pressure-filled atmosphere, he stood out for his poise on the back end. In other words, he could be the next Duncan Keith. Point 9. NY Rangers, Oliver Wahlstrom, RW 6'1", 198 pounds Sunset top scorer in the under-18 program, where he was often paired with future number 1 pick Jack Hughes. Wahlstrom patterns his game after Patrick Lane and plays a hybrid game that is the result of having a father who played professionally in Sweden. He's committed to Harvard next. Point 10. Edmonton, Quinn Hughes. The Oilers hired Paul Coffey last year to help coach the defense into being more offensive. But at the end of the day, you need the horses to pull it off. Hughes can be that guy. He skates and thinks the game like Coffey, meaning Connor McDavid might finally have someone who can pass him the puck. Mount TRAIKOS at postmedia.com, twitter.com/Michael TRAIKOS.